Difficult, that's going to be difficult.
Okay, we are again here at Salmonavshi, the Gemora Shir, usually given by Rabbi Reuven Levitt, who's in Kutzlaritz now, but we expect to be back in another 10 days or 2 weeks or so. And I, Shlomo first, am taking over for the Shir. We're in Bava Kama, Daf Mem Gimel Amid Aleph in Bava Kama. Yeah, let's just let's review the Gemora, and we want to review the Kiva Eger also again. So let's just maybe start with the teretz of Rabba. Rabba gives a teretz to the Gemora's question that we were thinking that in terms of Rabbi Akiva's statements. Rabbi Shlokish explained them. They was talking about koifer, that the Baal, the husband of the wife, doesn't inherit koifer because that's Roy. And apparently the Gemora was questioning that he should have also included Nezek and Sar that he shouldn't inherit, because we see a brisa that indicates that who gets the Nezek and Sar of the Isha? That's the Yarshi, the woman's Yarshi, not the husband. So why didn't Rabbi Shlokish include this in the statement he was explaining of Rabbi Akiva? So the brisa, in fact, is not going to be a question, because Rabbah gives a teretz talking that the brisa is, in fact, talking about a woman who's divorced. Grusha. And therefore, there's no havamina that the husband should inherit the tsar and the nezek of a divorcee. But we see from that the inference is that if they weren't still fact married, he would inherit the tsar and nezek of the wife, as long as she's considered to be the wife of the husband. Okay, let's just see the Gemora a bit, 2-3 lines of Gemora. Then we'll go back and review the Rabbi Akiva Eger, and after we've gotten that, I think more or less clear, we can proceed a bit further with the Gemora. Go ahead, Rachmi, you want to read that a bit? Amar Rabba. Amar Rabba.
Begusha. Amar Rav Nachman. Begusha.
So we're talking about Gusha. Just take a look at the Rashi there. So what is it? What's the case of Gerusha? Rashi.
Gerusha Askina, we are dealing with a Matzava Gerusha, that is divorce.
Meaning the Bryce is dealing with a case of a divorce.
Mishum Hachi, Noten Yosheha, and because of this, her heirs, Noten Yosheha, her heirs get it.
The Tsar and Nezek.
The Tsar and Nezek. Shegirsha Achar Chabala. That he divorced her after the assault.
Very good. Okay. And as we saw the Rashi yesterday, just to review the big Chiddush in Rashi that we saw based on in Chumash, was that the Baal needs to make a claim against the assaultant, the Choivel. He has to make a claim against him in Beis Din. So there are those that learn that if there's no claim, let's say the husband is not interested in making a claim in Beis Din. Because why? What does it involve? We have to make an estimate of how the woman, how much she's worth, correct? How much she's worth pregnant as to be conscious when she's not pregnant. So she's taken out and evaluated in the slave market, yeah? In the days where they had slave trade, a person would be valued as a pregnant woman as opposed to a non-pregnant woman. So let's say the husband, and the wife were both, they're simply not interested in going through the disgraceful act of taking his wife and putting her to the shuk, taking her to the slave market, putting her up there, and getting a bid on how much she'd be worth. He's not interested. So if he makes no claim, right, there'll be no payment, right? So that, and there's some portion that understand Rashi and Chumash to mean exactly that, right? And okay, so there's discussion whether that in fact is the halakha or not. We're not going to go into that too much right now, but that was based on on the Rashi. Likewise, if you see that that's the Rashi here, Shegirsha Acher HaChoiva, meaning the Gerushin took place after the assault, so therefore there's an opportunity for the husband to make a claim. If apparently if he's going to be divorced before the claim, so there's no husband at that point. There's no husband to make a claim. They also ask that question: what if there's no husband around at all? It has to be a claim specifically of the husband. Maybe the wife can make the claim herself. That's also a question that they ask on the Rashi, based on what Rashi says on the pasuk in Chumash. Okay, so that's the Gemora's teretz to the question that we asked on Reish Lakish. The Bryce is not a kasha to Reish Lakish because it's talking about a gerusha. Okay, now Rabbi Akiva Eger, as we wanted to see, right? Just in helping us understand Rabbi Akiva Eger, we want to refer again to that top Tosus, at least the first line. Tosus is telling us what the Havamina is over here, because the Gemora is going to be actually. Go for the Amri. They read the Gemora's question. We have to learn the Gemora and the question first for a moment. Second line, Amri. They asked the following question in the base of Medrash, right? Amri's lashon plural. Rabin, they in the base Medrash asked the question.
This question?
Yeah.
Gushan mamiti flog vladot. They asked the question. They asked a gusha should get part of that vladot.
So you see that
they're not man and wife anymore.
They're not man and wife. So
maybe she has something coming to her.
Right, and as Tosus explains, what's the basis of the question? Basis of the question is the Salkataik, the very top line in Tosus, upper left-hand corner.
Salkataik v'lo ikri ba'al isha, ela tishia isha tachtav.
Oh, stop right there. Yeah,
it's not called the husband or the wife. Rather that she is beneath him or under his control, or
they're related. I mean, that the woman is within the jurisdiction of the husband, right? Mm-hmm. The whole time that the woman's under the jurisdiction of the husband, then she's considered to be a wife, and then he's considered to be a Bala Isha. And the Torah says, who gets the Demei Vlados? A Bala Isha gets the Demei Vlados, right? Mm-hmm. So that's only if, as the question is poised to be asked, the question that is on their minds is if we understand that a Bala Isha is only considered to be a Bala Isha, a husband, the whole time that they're actually married, right? So if there's no marriage, she's not a married woman. He's not a Bala Isha. He's not a husband. If there's no husband, so the Gemora said that they should let's at least split the Demei Vlados. Mm-hmm. So on that, Rabbi Akiva Eger asked the question. Let's take another look at the Rabbi Akiva Eger. Go ahead.
Gusha.
Yes.
Gusha namiti flog the Vladot. The Gusha should get part of that the Vladot. That means he should get part, that she should get part.
Yeah, apparently
even if they're divorced.
Even if they're divorced, it's a split. Meaning, you could have possibly even asked, maybe there should be no Demei Vlados at all. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if, as we said, based on the Rashi and Chumash, if there's no Baal, there's no claim of a Baal. If there's no claim of a Baal, there should be no payment of Demei Vlados. You could even ask that question. Rabbi Akiva Eger didn't ask that question. Mm-hmm. Okay?
And what's this Kuf Lamed?
Kashali. Kashali. It's difficult to
him. To Rabbi Akiva Eger.
Yes.
The Ha, what's this?
Below Zeh.
Or below Zeh.
Meaning without this. Meaning even without this point of, let's say, split it, right?
If without this case of being split, it will be difficult on the Reisha.
Meaning, I think the pshat is that they could have asked on the Reisha of the Brisa. Meaning, if they wanted to ask on the question that they're asking is based on Rabbah. The question is directed to Rabbah. That he said the Brisa is talking about a gerusha, right? And if they're talking about a grusha, they said, well, there should be a split of the Demei Vlados. So the Yiksha ala Reisha, you should meaning even ask on the Reisha, meaning you could have asked directly on the shot in the Reisha. Meaning what? Go ahead.
The Baal, the Baal is not alive or whatever. The Baal, Noten, Yoshav. It's going, the Demei Vladot is going to his heirs.
Good.
Tit Falug, he with the Demei Vladot. And why does it say there, already in the Breita, that she should get part of it? She should get part of it. Because he's not around anymore.
Right?
He's dead.
Right.
She's Almanah.
Mm-hmm.
So why does she get part? Why does it, all the Demei Vladot go to his heirs?
To his heirs?
She should get part of it.
Right.
So why does it say in the Breita that they get everything? The heirs of the Baal get everything. And he's Niftar. That's what he says here. But what's the difference? But the Baal's not around, whether he's divorced or whether he's dead.
Right.
The Baal is not around to get anything. So why does it going to the heirs? That's the question.
Correct.
So why should the Gusha be any different than the Almanah?
Right.
So the Breita doesn't mention that.
No, and according to the Havamin of the question, it should be. Meaning they should have also asked on the. You could have asked on the whole brisa. If their assumption in asking the question is correct, meaning as long as there's no marriage, there's no husband, there's no wife anymore, they're separated. So what does it matter what type of separation it is, divorce or death, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not, so why did they only pick to ask about Gerusha? They could have asked directly on the brisa. So it's apparently Rabbi's teretz is not exactly accurate based on the understanding of those who are asking the question of their understanding of this brisa, because this brisa says, well, look, there's no Baal who inherits.
His heirs.
His heirs completely, but according to the way the question was asked, they could have asked directly on that as well. It doesn't make sense.
Why does it go all to the heirs if he's dead?
The only heirs.
She should get part of that.
Yeah.
So the answer, the matter of the Grusha doesn't even come to Bing.
That's right.
You don't even have to ask on that.
Right,
You can ask directly on that.
You can ask directly on the brisa. Okay, that was the point that Rabbi Kiva Eger mentioned. Okay, so now we have to come up with the teretz, right? If we're asking a question on Rabbah, so...
I had an idea.
Sure.
Why is the Almanah different than the Grusha? The Almanah still has a connection to a husband in the next world. They will be together there.
Oh.
Whereas the Grusha, this is a total break in their connection in this world and in the next world.
Oh, could be.
Can
That's definitely a point like that because we see that there is such a, for examlo, lo aleinu, that the a spouse is nifter, so there are certain obligations of avelis for the spouse, the surviving spouse. There is a connection. There is a relationship. In contrast, it's gerushin that there's no. They go their separate ways. In
this world and in the next world, there's no connection.
That's right. So you would see if there's a connection, maybe that it's still considered a vow, and maybe you should collect everything, and it all goes to him. If there's a split, they split.
Yeah.
If there's no split, it's just a separation.
Yeah.
So you don't split. Good, possibly.
And then the resurrection of the dead, they'll be together again.
True enough. Yeah.
If they're divorced, they'll never be together again.
They get married again.
Huh?
That's another story.
Well, let's get it,
Good morning, how are you doing?
morning, my grandfather again. It's just So, yes, I've got a bit of odd draft.
You're a grandfather
If
again.
they're good, if they deserve it.
Leah and Hara,
Yeah.
how many is that or is it?
Oh.
Working, don't have to tell me. If you have to count, don't worry about it. You don't have enough.
It's a Fardis.
You don't have enough yet. You don't have enough yet.
Shlomo is name. Shlomo ben Reuven.
Shlomo and Reuven, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Is that a grandchild?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, very good. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we have a kasha. I'm going to ask the kasha. Gerusha nami tiflut b'demei vlados. So what are we talking about? Amarav Papa. We have to explain what's going on here. Want to continue? Right.
Okay. Amora Papa. The Torah zikta b'demei vladot the Baal. The Torah was merited the vladot to the husband. Afilu Baal ea b'znut.
Yeah.
I've got a different interpretation here. Instead of saying a husband's got offspring, it's a cohabitat, the man who impregnated the woman,
Okay.
which may not be the husband.
Yeah, right. It says Baal, right? Baal doesn't necessarily mean Baal meaning husband. It could be, right? The Baal, afilu Baal el biznus. Even if he came with a biznus, means there's no
It
matrimony.
could be the third one.
The Baal Isha,
It
she
doesn't have to be
says.
the first one. That doesn't have to be the father that's lady.
That's a whole other question. But right now, in terms of what we're talking about, that meaning anyone who did the impregnation, that he's the Baal, he's the master of this child, he's the father of this child, so to speak. Yeah. And for that reason, the Torah should have said maybe Av. It should have said the Av of the father. They wanted to be more specific. Yeah, if the Torah wanted to be more specific, it should have used lashon like what is again the pasuk says here again. V'hi yinsu anashim v'nigru ish hara. The pregnant woman gets assaulted. V'yatzu lo yadeh, and she miscarries the child. And she hasn't had a calamity happen to her, meaning she's still alive. Anash kasher yasiv Baal ha'isha. Nasam pli. I should have said. Could have said. It's shorter and said Yashish Lava Av, right? It could have just said the father. Why do you have to bring this concept of the Baal Isha, the husband, right? And now we say because of this question, we have to say it doesn't really mean the father. It doesn't really mean the husband. It means the father. Even if it was the father through znus, yeah. And that's what Rashi says. The Rashi says, right? Baal Isha Abaola Kapi. It's on the one who did the impregnation, the Torah's specifying. He's the one who's supposed to get it. So yeah, so let's explain. How is this a teretz now?
No, Baal continues to get all the money. Even if he's a grusha, it doesn't matter.
Oh, meaning
There's grusha, almana, in all cases, it always goes to the Baal, and therefore after that it goes to his inheritors, Yarsha, never touches her. There's no this says we don't divide.
no division, right? Why no division? Because the boyo, meaning the one who did the impregnation, he's the one who gets the demei vlados, whether they're married or not. Okay. Very good.
So I guess that's what the Brit is talking about. So, Ein a Baal, no tani Yoshav. If the one that did the act, and he's the father child, so he gets it, and if he's not around, it goes to his heirs.
Yes.
That's what I mean. So you get
Whoever did the act, exactly. That's how we understand it. The Torah is only interested in the person who did the act,
right.
whether they're married or not. Very good. So that will be a sufficient explanation. Good.
This question that they asked Amrei, They asked it before Rav Papa, and he gave the answer.
It was asked in response to Rabba's teretz on the brisa.
Right.
Right, so they asked the question. Then it was answered by Rav Papa. Rav Papa answered the question.
He wasn't necessarily there.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Going to be some trouble.
Excuse me.
Going to be some trouble.
Why?
Well, if you were the father and she was still married, are you going to actually claim the?
He's claiming.
He's cutting his
You're
own
going to
throat.
claim it and come out in the open to say
He's cutting his own
that
throat.
you've
He'll get
committed.
killed.
What do you call it?
Yeah, that's mine. Or take him out to Oregon. Kill him. He's like, but he can't be his own witness, though. That's the problem.
Well,
He's not a kosher witness.
Yeah.
Against himself.
Well, the question is dealt with. Let's say the woman was an Eishes Ish. She was an Eishes Ish. Okay, so she was Mazana. So the Vlad is a mamzer. Vlad's a mamzer. Right. So now we're talking about the Mei Vlados. Right. A woman, right? A woman who's Mazana, right? Even if there's no Eres in her straw, but she's really Chayav Misa B'dei Shemayim. Right? So there are those that say that she really has no value. Has no value. This woman's been over in Isser D'Oraisa. She's Chayav Misa B'dei Shemayim. If there was Eres in her straw, right? She would get Misa's basted, which would really be worth nothing at all.
That means she's not worth anything, and then the Vlad is not worth anything either?
So, very good point. So there's a question, general question, that an uber, a fetus, how do you look at the status of the fetus? Is a fetus what we call a yerek shel imo, meaning it's like a limb of the mother? Is the fetus viewed as an independent entity, separate from the mother, and he happens just to be living within the womb of the mother, or is he viewed as an organ of the mother herself? That's a question which is asked throughout Shas in various different circumstances with various different halachos to be applied to it.
Whether it's considered the mother herself,
right? Part of the mother herself.
Or
Yerek, it's considered like Yerek is a thigh, literally Yerek imo, like a thigh of the mother. Is the fetus like a thigh of the mother?
yeah,
Right? Like she has 3 kidneys. Instead of 2, she has 3. She has a third kidney. Another kidney.
what's
in
the
her
other?
womb. The other one that's independent.
What's independent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Independent.
In Chulin,
Yeah.
if the Jiddush Shkita, so the calf inside is you don't have to shochet the
Ben Pekur.
no Ben Pagua.
Yeah.
If you do
Shkita,
shkita and there was inside and it's dead,
Right.
you have to do shkita. It was a part of the maybe from that.
Yeah. So that's one of the applications, one of the questions, one of the applications. But the Raisa, if a person has a cow is pregnant with a calf. Calf is unborn. Person shechs the cow, right? And the calf comes out still alive and well. Like let's say you shechted it in the last days before the assumed date of birth for the calf. I don't know what the gestation of a calf is. Any idea what the gestation time of a calf is? Okay, I don't know if it's more or less than. If you happen to, good morning.
This is the man. He knows.
Do you know what
He knows.
Just listen.
the gestation time of a calf is? How long does it take for a calf to give
5 months in. 5 months.
And exactly. Okay. Well, assuming.
You're just saying that, or is that
that's
true?
Do you know?
Okay.
What?
Are you just saying that, or is that true?
Do you know?
I have no idea.
No idea?
But I
Whatever.
thought it was less. I thought
Okay.
it was less than the human. It's not 9 months and 27 days or whatever.
Okay. In any event.
It's Ben Pagua. It's separate.
Oh, so
And if you do shkita and it's dead inside, so you have to do shkita. That's part of the mother.
right. So
You're gonna talk about-
it's part of
But
it's
I
considered-
don't understand. How can you? Why should you?
Why
you
have all these
if it's not
questions
alive?
hanging?
No,
He
that's the
had
story. He asked
telephone
about a
number
baby.
for
What's the story of baby? If baby's inside,
Yeah.
that's part of the
there he
mother.
goes, okay.
For the mother?
It's part of the mother. It's that's part of the
The whole
mother.
question is that if it comes out after the mother
It is part of
dies,
the mother.
and it's
But that
alive,
was,
That's
you
the
need shchita or you don't need
That's
shchita?
the-
That's
you don't
a
need
question.
You don't need
shchita.
shchita.
That's
You
a
don't
question.
need
That's
shchita.
a
According to
question.
this.
That's a
Yeah,
question
then,
whether
the
the
Uber,
Uber, the fetus is part of the mother or an independent.
Oh, so you hit it over the head and it's enough?
And that
No,
question
you don't have to.
hasn't been
Yeah, you hit it on
resolved.
the head. That's all. Yeah.
Kill
In
it.
certain cases
Yeah.
it may be
Yeah.
resolved,
Yeah,
but in
you can
any
grow up. The people that grow, that you grow up to a big,
survive. I think the question is whether
You
you
have
can
to
survive
do it. You can
without
resist
help
in the head and that's all.
if it's
Wow.
like an early birth.
could be, could be.
I mean, but then again, nowadays kids can't survive into the 28, and the parents
That's
drop
not, that's
them in
not
the
needs
house.
came here now. It's
283 days.
Excuse me?
283 days.
283.
Oh,
It
wow.
ranges from 279 to 287. 283 is common.
So let me see.
That's,
For the
uh,
1690, that's the same time as a human being.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more.
Well, look at that. Okay, I wonder what that means. Okay.
It means what it says. You mean you're trying to figure out whether the vlad, the calf is considered to be separate from its mother.
Yeah, well, because we're asking the following question. Okay, there's such a thing as the Mevlados. The Mevlados is if the Torah describes a situation, two men are fighting, right, and a woman who's pregnant gets in the middle and gets a whack from one of the two men that are fighting, and she miscarries. She survives, right? She may be wounded and damaged and in sorrow, but she survives. But the child is lost, the fetus is lost, and she miscarries. So there's such a thing as called the Mevlados, the amount of money for the value of the fetus, right? So questions is asked, is dealt with to a certain extent. Let's say the woman was pregnant through a illicit relationship. She's a married woman, and she is bearing a mamzer.
Mamzer, not a bastard.
She's bearing a mamzer. She's bearing a mamzer. So now, the woman, if it was Edis and Hosra, she would be Chayev Misa, Misa's Bezdin, right? If there's no Edis and Hosra, she's Chayev Misa's
Warning.
Misa Shemayim. So in fact, the woman, in a certain respect, in a certain way of looking at things, she has no value, right? She has no value, right? So if she has no value, maybe the Vlad has no value, in which case a woman who was bearing a mamzer, there would be no value for the Mevlados. Right?
Value, and how do you define value?
Well, okay, well, I mean, we're talking about the way you evaluate the
You mean
Mevlados.
whether that
You take it to the
person could
slave.
marry into the Jewish
No,
people?
you take it to the slave market. You take it to the slave market, and you evaluate how much is this woman worth, pregnant or not pregnant. Okay, but since this woman's not going to get sold as a slave, because why? Because the base thing gets hold of her, they're going to take her out and kill her. Take her out. She's not going to be worth much as a slave, right?
Right. So really, she has no value
No value.
because
She has no value.
time is not on her side.
Right.
If time was on her side, then she would have value.
Right. Now, but is time on the side of the fetus? Let's say the fetus would have survived, right? Let's say the fetus would have. That's the whole estimation. If the fetus would have survived and she was pregnant, there would be a value here. The question is, does the mamzer, the fetus which is a mamzer, have a value, right? So that goes to the further question as to whether or not the fetus is considered part of the woman or not. Is it yerech imoy, meaning he's the fetus, the unborn child? Is he like another organ of the mother, right? Instead of having 2 kidneys, she has 3 kidneys while she's pregnant. Or it's a completely different, independent entity. He happens to be living inside the womb of the mother.
But wouldn't this thing though, you have a case though, we're talking about, let's hold off on the miscarriage for a second.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a question where she'd have to be taken out if there was Hasra. Okay?
Right.
And there was the fact of the base in making the judgment.
Right.
There is a thing though that wouldn't it be that if they judge that she is deserving of Mita's based in, that they don't wait for the baby to be born. There's a whole question of it happening in the 9th month, happening right now. So the question is, if it's before that, there's a question of she's not going to make it. They're not going to get. It's whether or not they're even going to have time because they're going to kill her and the fetus before she even gets to the point of the blood being born.
Very good. Very
The
good.
blood being born. So
Very
she
good.
definitely has no value, and the blood has no value at that point.
Right.
Anytime when there's time for Beis Din to do what it has to do. It's only, you know, what do you phrase it? Like on the birth stool? Like it's that level. Do we wait or do we not wait?
Yes, sir.
And that might be a question of Gemora too. Do we wait or do we not wait?
That
And I think we
point-
don't wait.
Yeah, no, I don't think we do. I think
We don't
according to the Gemora, we don't wait.
We don't wait. So if
Yeah.
we don't wait, then
So
under
we're-
all circumstances, the vlad can have no value.
Because it's not going to survive.
Because it's not gonna, the vlad can't, because the vlad has to be killed along with her
Right.
before you can get to that point.
Right.
So
Very
therefore,
good point.
the vlad has to have no value.
That means the
Along
blood
the way.
is a part of the, it's an organ of the Ima. If it wasn't, they would say
So
it.
Um,
They would say, wait,
well,
how can you kill a fetus? It's not part of her.
again,
It's a living thing.
Again, but you're not killing. You're not you're not doing an abortion. You're not doing something directly to the fetus. You're just killing the mother, and the fetus will eventually will simply go because he
it's a
has no
psik
mother
ratio.
left. Yeah, it's like a psik
It's a
ratio.
technicality,
You
but
wouldn't-
it's
you
going to
wouldn't- you
die.
wouldn't-
You're right. But
It's like an
No, you
abortion.
wouldn't-
right,
in some ways.
right.
So maybe they should save it and put it off.
But I believe the halakha is not. I believe the halakha is not that you don't. Yeah. Even if she was even if a woman's listening to Michal Shabbos, forget about znus. The child is a perfectly kosher child. She was a perfectly kosher woman, except she was Michal Shabbos. She decided to cook steaks on Shabbos, a barbecue. They give her edus and straw. They say, "Lady, you do this, you're going to be taken out. Beis Din will convict you." And she says, "I don't care. I want to make the steaks." She makes the steaks, so you can take her out, and they're not going to wait for the pregnancy to be over.
Even if
As far
it's
as
imminent, like she might be due any hour.
So if it's that close, maybe there's
Because the
there's
baby is not,
question.
isn't a fetus then no longer a fetus. It's a viable child on its own.
Yeah, well, that you could
No,
say
but
even
then
by
you
the
can
sixth
back
or
that.
even by the 8th month, you could even say that by the 8th month as well,
Okay,
even the
but at a
6th.
certain time,
Yeah,
the child is not part of the mother.
yeah.
child.
Well,
Well,
that's
actually, you're killing two.
No, but that's,
So,
that's,
so
that's,
killing
that's,
two,
that's,
one,
that's the at the
killing
time.
two.
I think the question is
How's
that's
that
the
fair?
at the time question. You know that
Yeah,
How is
that-
that fair?
that-
You're killing
as-
two.
as-
You're not killing one, you're killing two.
as they're-
I have to find
as
out, I have
they're-
to look at the law.
as they're killing her,
Yeah,
the blood now comes out.
right,
So
okay.
now the question is, what's the status there of
So,
that
so
blood?
look,
You can't kill him,
the
can't
blood,
kill him.
the blood is not chayiv misa. The blood's not chayiv misa. The blood obviously there's nothing wrong, right? The question is, right, as to whether or not if the blood is considered part of the mother, right? So it's not a separate entity. So the woman goes, it goes, and there's nothing there. If you view the blood as the fetus as a separate entity, so then maybe you should postpone the death until the child is born, or save the child some with medical facilities, whatever, something like that. But I have to, if you want, I can look
You
into
can do
it.
an induced birth. Induced. Have the woman have
Right.
labor,
If you-
induced
You
labor,
can give her,
Yeah.
and
give her
birth.
some,
Yeah.
some
And
better,
then you take her out.
better.
Could be
Then
done.
take out the killer.
Yeah.
No, but that sounds like you're getting to a whole field that there probably is a whole book written on this. When or if, and it's probably involved with abortions and all sorts of other things. You know, so you're going to get this just down the line in the Gemora. This
No,
you are now entering a different world.
So, okay, if I have time, I'll try and look up the It's also relevant to the
Wow.
question, what is there the Vlados, if a doctor, Hashem Yerachim, did an abortion, is there the Vlados in the case of abortions? Right? Let's say he endorsed, he killed the blood. Right? Is that similar to the case of this person hitting this woman? Right? This woman got hit by a fighting. A woman got hit. The Chayvul hit her, and she lost the miscarriage.
It's a total. It's a
Is the
different
doctor
situation.
considered-
Because that's a question
like
of her.
A Chayvul.
a chovel.
A Chayvul.
Yeah, but that's all. That whole case is talking about ki gach. They have to have these two people who are fighting,
Yeah,
and she gets hit.
Right. So it could be not without a fight.
on the way as an unintentional
That's-
side consequence.
It's intentional.
This is an intentional
Intentional.
situation, so that changes the total.
Because I think the Shaila came up. I think it was a Maisha Shahai. I don't know exactly, but I think there was a doctor, and he was Choser Tshuva, and he wanted to know what should he do in terms of the abortions. So the question was, maybe you should pay the Mevlados also. If he wants to do full tshuva, maybe she could do maybe others.
With regards to the Gemora that we're learning,
Yeah.
we're trying to learn.
What do you see there?
We're looking at the fetus as a fetus.
Right.
Aren't we? We're looking at it as still not developed to the point where it's a question whether it's viable on its own or not.
Exactly. Our Gemora doesn't go into the details exactly when it's considered not to be an independent entity. And question is whether it is or not. That's not. For example, a ben noya, there's no limit of I think 3 months. I think before 3 months in the halachic status of a fetus, before 3 months doesn't have a status of a fetus. But by a ben noach, I think it's even less than 3 months.
3 months, not 40 days.
But it could be 40 days also, because that's when it's a zakra and a keva, so it has some type of an entity, status of being an entity. Yeah. 3 months is when it becomes visible, right? Usually you're not going to know before 3 months. So the guy in Elisha Ayin Niros, the judge can only judge something which he sees, right? If there's no apparent evidence that she's pregnant, so maybe she's not considered legal. She's not considered pregnant, perhaps.
She has to show before she's considered.
That's a question. I haven't gone into that whole section of Jewish law. Well,
no, but the fight would have occurred, and she would have been there even though it doesn't mean she was pregnant. Unless she didn't know.
She may not. Sometimes they know, sometimes they don't. They may be surprised.
Why did Judah want to wait for Tamar to give birth to that killer?
You see that it doesn't matter. You see that she's the woman, the person's chayiv, who's the chayiv missing. You don't wait. Yeah. Well, I'll try and go into it a little bit. Let's see a few more lines in Gemora. Maybe we can. Every line of Gemora is worlds of different things. So we gave a teretz, so Rav Papa answered the question that they had asked. Well, the Grisha should split. Rav Papa says the Torah ziksa demei vlados labal. Which Rashi says that we're talking about the boil. How do we know? Because even boil b'alav ben znus. If it was a case of znus, the impregnator is considered to be the boil, and he gets the mevlados. My timer. Who would like? Where do you want to continue?
My timer. What's the reason? I'll read the fill-in that the Ark Scroll gives to us. But what's the reason that we say that even one who fathered these offspring out of wedlock is awarded their entire value? Oma kara asher yashis alav ha'al ha'shah.
Well, ha'isha.
Because in regard to this payment, the verse states, he, that's the one who struck her, shall be punished as the husband, that's the Baal, of the woman shall cause to be assessed against him. Not if you read that properly. He shall be punished as the husband of the woman shall cause to be assessed against him. Doesn't that sense?
Basically what it means is that the assessment of the damages shall be charged to the person who assaulted, and it will be paid to not to the Bali issue, but to the boil, to the one who impregnated the woman.
The term Baal implies that he's awarded the value of the fetuses because he cohabited with this woman.
Yeah,
That scroll.
That's based on Rashi. That they're getting their information from Rashi.
Yeah. Any further?
Yeah. So at that point, we can understand why even if they're divorced, right? Even if they came as the raya from Rav Papa, even if they were never married, so even if the Torah is giving impregnate her. The Vlados, if they were never married, certainly if they were married, he's going to get the Demei Vlado, even though they may not be married right now. Oh, wow. Okay. We can see Tosas. Based on some of the things that we're discussing, we'll understand a little bit more about Tosas. You see the second Tosas, Afilu ba aleh beznus. Would you like to read that first word? Tosas? Yeah, I'll help you. Don't.
I can't read the Russian.
Russian is hard for you? Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Volunteers for us, Tosas?
Tosfos, a few bar leha b'znus, even if he had relations with her in znus. The Yerushalmi by Rabbi Akiva.
Boy, Rabbi Akiva asked.
He asked this question here. Ba al imo, someone who had relations with his mother. Bo al achato, who had relations with his sister. Yachol, he can afhu baal ha'arion. He can also. In that case, he would go
right? Yochel afhu. You would think also him. I mean, this guy who lived with his mother, lived with his sister, and the pregnancy was. That's the case. We're talking about a mamzer. These are mamzeri mamish.
Who baal ha'arion? He'd be the one who impregnated her.
Right.
Talmud Loma, there it says baal oto sherui likrot baal. The baal. It's him that's fitting to be called a baal. He has to have the name that he could still be called a baal, and he can't be called. He can become. This one could become a husband even if he did it by his noose. He has the possibility of marrying her. This with the imo or achoto, he doesn't have the possibility.
There's no kedushin. There is kedushin.
They can't be kedushin. They can't be kedushin.
There's no kedushin.
And there's no kedushin. There can't be. There's no way out of it.
Sorry, what's Rabbi Akiva?
Okay, you want to
finish it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yatso to exclude elu she'enim re'ui ligro, to exclude those who are not fitting to be called like a husband. So even if you can do snooze, he still has the possibility of marrying her, and therefore he gets money. The other one, there's no possibility of him in being that. So this is taking out them out of the category of the znus. The znus has to be somebody who he has the ability to marry.
Right. So we'll go over the Tosfos in a moment, but what it just came to me now, we can be medayik in the Gemora. Rav Papa said, look at the lashon of the Gemara. Amar Rav Papa, Torah ziksa demei vlados lebaal, afilu baal le biznus. It says biznus, not ba'arayis. If we would have said arayis, then why don't put in all the akoso, the imoy, aishas ish, it says nus, right? With the imo or the akoso, and it's not just nus, it's arayis, which is a kedushin toipsing body. The kedushin, he can't marry such a woman. There's no kedushin.
Wait a second. This also
doesn't get any of
time out.
Okay,
but this changes what you said before.
Yeah.
And takes out the mamzer as not being possible.
This according to Tosfos, there's no mamzer.
You can't have a mamzer at all.
There's no mamzer
because it's a riot. It has to be a zanu situation, not a riot situation.
That's right.
So therefore, that situation, the riot, the mamzer situation doesn't exist.
Right. According to Yerushalmi, right? Tosfos bring Yerushalmi, right? So again, like see, Rashi's just explaining Bala Isha Aboila copy. So you would think, right, that anyone who's a boil, according and Rashi's job is just to explain line by line, Pashat Shot in the Gemora. Right? That's why Tosfos, a lot of what you see in Tosfos is going to bring in comments and questions and explanations based on other parts of Chazal, Yerushalmis, another Gemora, someplace else, right? Then he's going to bring, there's other ramifications to our Gemora beyond what Rashi's doing. Rashi's just coming to give us a line by line explanation of the Gemora without being concerned with the consequences of other places in Chazal. In Rashi say a boiler. If you learn Pashat Shot in Rashi, a boiler on the person who impregnated her. That means anybody who impregnates any woman, right? But it's true. If in light of Tosus, if you're a little bit medayik in our Gemora, and it always talking about znus, so when a person's going to, for example, get involved with the mother or the sister, it's a little bit more than znus. It's what we usually call arayas, right? So, and you see, the Rabbi Akiva asked in the Rishami, he was asking, meaning there was a valid question Rabbi Akiva had, based on what we understand in our Gemora, right? He's asking Rabbi Akiva, is the Mevlados in a person who's Mezana, living with his mother, living with his sister, you would say, is it possible, even him, Baal Ha'uroin, he is Sof Kol Sof, he is ultimately called the one who started off this pregnancy.
Is he quotes Baal?
Yes,
situation
right. He's the Baal Ha'uroin. He's the Baal. He's the originator, the initiator of this pregnancy. Tabelon with Baal. So now that's the drush of the Yerushalmi. The drush of the Yerushalmi, to answer Rabbi Akiva's question, is it has to be Baal. Oiso Harui Lekros Baal. That one who is fit to be called a Baal, not boil, not an impregnator, right? Yotze Elu Shein Haroim Lekros Baal. It's coming to exclude those who are not called Baal. For this matter, I'll ask you another question. What if it was a goy? What if it was a goy? It's a Jewish woman and got out with a goy. The Ratzon, the Oynis, whatever it was. And then there's no znus, there's no arayas.
Does he get it? The goy, does he get it?
You're going to give the goy the Mevlados? You're going to give Leroy the Mevlados? Fritz? You're going to give Fritz the Mevlados? According to the Tosfos, again, Rabbi Akiva is only asking by arayas. Again, by a non-Jew, there's not kedushin toifis fault. Because it's a different reason why kedushin is not chal. There's no kolois of kedushin.
It happens the other way around.
Yeah.
The husband, the man, is a Jew, and the woman is not. She's Jewish. She's good.
Yeah.
Then she gets hit. The vlad goes out. Does he get paid on that?
Yeah.
The mevladot. It's not the vlad is not Jewish.
It's not Jewish. That's the story.
So, is it worth anything?
Should make a good slave. Make a good slave. Very good slave. Okay, I don't know. Okay. More homework.
So, I've written down here, so Rabbi Akiva asked, can we keep the title of Baal to one who cannot possibly marry the woman?
Good.
That's the basic thing that touches.
Basic, right. Basic, right. Good. Basic, very good, very good. That's the essence of what Tosfos is pointing out here. Meaning, Tosfos is really coming to what we call mitzumtzam, limit our Gemora. According to the way we learned Rashi, anybody who is the father of a fetus should be getting the Mevlados. Tosfos says, hold on, take a look. The Rishami deals with the question Rabbi Akiva asked. He was wondering, Rabbi Akiva, in the case when he was impregnated his mother, impregnated his sister, for example, we would think maybe they should also get the Mevlados, because he's also called, in that case, the Baal Heoroin. He's the one who initiates the pregnancy. And if you're talking about the one who initiates the pregnancy getting the Mevlados, should be even a case of arayas. Right? Comes the Gemora, and then the Rishami, and says, Tamalon, well, Baal, it's Medayik del Baal. The Torah says, Baal. Also, how royally cross Baal, he has to have, ultimately, the ability he could possibly be considered to be a husband. Right? That means that there's probably Kedushin Tosos Baal. Right? See, there's another side question. Rabbi Akiva, if I'm not mistaken, he holds there's no Kedushin Tosim when Chayvi Lavim. There are different types of arayas. A mother is Chayvi Misa. A sister is Chayvi Misa. If he lives with his mother, he lives with his sister, for example. But there are other arayas which are Chayvi Lavim. Let's say, for example, a Kohen Gadol with an almana, Chayvi Lavim. Kohen Gadol, or a Stam Kohen with a Garusha. I think Rabbi Akiva holds there's no Kedushin Tofismo there. It's no Misa. It's not going to get, but it's And the
But
question.
you have people say once it's done, you don't make them divorce.
Okay, that's secondary. The question is, but is there a mom? If there's no kedushin, what makes a mamzer a mamzer? If it's a mamzer because there's no kedushin toifins boy, right? Even if a kohen, let's say kohen gadol marries an almana, it's chayvi lavin. But if it's according to Rabbi Kiva and there's no kedushin toifis, right? So then it'll be a mamzer in that situation as well. So let's say a kohen gadol married an almana, and she was pregnant, and two guys got into a fight, and there's this Tosa supply. Rabbi Kiva was only asking about her mother and her chosa, which are arayas, mamish, according to everybody. They're blue chip arayas, right? They're the spitz arayas. Well, you have secondary arayas. You have secondary isurim.
No, all this covers all the rights. So this covers all the rights. The end of the Tosfos covers all. It ain't a rui. Anybody's not fitting for. It's covering all of them. And I think he's just he's giving it. You mean on this case you're talking about? It's just
even the
extreme case.
And in the answer, the Gemora
is any rights.
Right. The Gemora is answering, and she's from the teretz of the Gemora, right? That it's anyone who has to be roy. So it's all Kohen Gadol is not roy to be a baal for a almana. A Stam Kohen is not roy to be a baal for a gerusha. So that would answer as well.
And is there a specific meaning to the words noose?
Right.
Noose has to be, a case that's not a rice.
Right. In the context of our Gemara, is noose a specific case? Meaning, noose, and the way you see Tosfos learning a Gemara, you see it's noose is non-arayas. Okay.
With regard to the second Tosafos, if we have a look at the first Tosafos,
Yeah.
didn't that say something about the woman is still, if she's still under the control of her husband, then he is regarded as Baal.
Right. Right.
So
Has to be.
which precludes anybody else, including the boil.
Right. Unless it happens to be like let's say. He was a regular guy. He was a regular guy. Wasn't a father. Wasn't a brother. Wasn't somebody who was usher to her. But he just happened to maybe they've been living together. These two people have been living together, right? And it could be deraisa. If people living together, it could be deraisa. They're considered to be married in certain aspects. Right?
If they're living together, she's not under his.
Thank you.
If they're living together and he's not technically under. She's not technically under his control.
Well, that would be if they start living together like man and wife, then jurisdiction could possibly be relevant. Yeah, could be. All right. Okay, Mr. Shem tomorrow. If I have a chance, I'll try and clarify some of these points.
You'll have time to sleep tonight if you'll have time with all these questions. You can work on NBC with the news. You can do this nighttime. Let's go. See, let's go. You're very good in the town.
That's all, folks. So you can do it tomorrow, Mr. Shem.
By the way, the answer that